Hey guys, KB5MIQ Big Boy here. We got a few subjects we're going to talk about tonight. First off, I need a little advice. My wife, I finally talked her into getting her ham license. Now, she's not going to be heavy into this. The reason I want her to get it, there's several places I go, like to K1ENT, Kent's QTH, and KI5TKY, Tim's QTH. Cell phone won't work, and I want her to be able to get a hold of me. So I'm really interested in just getting her on 2 meters, working out of the house here, and just doing local stuff, maybe on a repeater. But if she ever decides to get on HF, she'll have me here to help her get used to that. So I've got her a tech study book ordered, but does anybody know of a book that's got a glossary of terms in it that explains ham radio terms? Because my wife is super smart. She's always been a very big reader, and she's already taken a couple of these practice tests on her own and passed one of them already and not failing the rest of them by very much without any experience or any study. So I'm just trying to give her some ideas, help her get going here in this. So if any of y'all got a suggestion, or if I hadn't looked at a study book in years, if the study book has got a glossary in the back that explains terms, that's good. I'll have it that way. But y'all wish her luck, hoping to get her on here, hopefully for the first year. Got a couple of subjects I'm going to talk about today, and I've got some tips for new guys, and I do this a lot, I know, about buying radios, HF, antennas, things like that. We're going to talk about it. I got a couple social media posts I'm going to kind of expound on. First thing I want to remind y'all, Main Trading Company has got a ton of used gear up there. If you notice, I got a new Daiwa HF SWR watt meter today. I got a heck of a deal on that up there today. Went by, seen Richard, took my wife to Paris for a while this morning, went by and seen Richard and Christine, and I've been looking for one, and he had one in his used gear. It looked brand new, and I got a heck of a buy on it. So if you're looking for something used, call him. These websites behind because they're short of help, but he's got a ton of it in the store, and if you call up there and he's got it, he'll get you fixed up. And if you can go in and visit them at the store, remember, cash is king. You'll do good with cash. And if you call, tell them you heard about it here. I just let them know this is helping them out up there. I appreciate it. Another thing, I have showed y'all in the past, I've built my 2 meter Yagi, got a video of it. I've showed y'all how to make sample dipoles just out of junk you got around the house. I'm going to put a link to another channel for new guys, especially new guys interested in antenna building. Check out the Smoking Ape. He covers in depth, but he covers it where it's easy to understand him. If I can understand him, anybody can, because I'm kind of dense on some of this stuff. But he covers it really good. He goes into different types of balance and types of wires, all kinds of stuff. He's got a bunch of good videos specifically rated to antennas and building, so check him out. All right, let's talk about these 2 subjects here. All right. Well, there's 3. One of them will take long to talk about. Has anyone found a Mars mod for the 991A for VHF? Okay. All right. I don't know. Somebody said there wasn't one for it. I don't know. Nowadays, all your HF rigs come with general coverage receivers. And the 991's a shack in the box, so I'm sure it'll have general coverage receive across the whole band. With these newer, not necessarily software-defined radios, but computer-controlled radios, I run into this with this 897. I wanted to get into Mars at one time, and I could not get my 897 Mars modded. The mod that Yaesu sent was kind of vague, and the guy I looked it, didn't want to do it. And I found out since then that the Mars mod kind of messed. It'll work and it'll transmit out of band, but you lose some of the other features of the radio. And I think that's kind of a characteristic of a lot of these newer radios, especially its computer-controlled multifunction screens. Now, the Mars mod was big years ago when people were actually in Mars, wanting to be in Mars, and it's because Mars used to give gear away after you've been in it so long. I don't much think that's going on anymore. My recommendation, unless you have a Mars license, don't do the Mars mod on any radio. Somebody, well, you might need it for emergencies. You got ham radio for emergencies. This, stay in, if you don't need the Mars mod, don't do it. If you're into Mars and want to do the Mars mod, Mars operator, that's great. I actually had a Mars license at one time, but I never could get my radio modified, so I turned it back in. So I haven't ever modded mine. And after I read later some of the things you lose, just be careful on doing a Mars mod on these modern radios. It's sure a good way to, first, avoid the warranty on them. Second, if you mess it up and the warranty's still going to be voided, you mess up a good radio. All right, I'm going to go over both of these and we're going to talk about them both at the same time. I've been using 2 meters for a while. I want to get an HF rig for my shack. Not really interested in contesting or DX. Just say I contacted someone. Plain old rag chewing seems more appealing to me. But I would like to make some distance contacts south of me, which would be in places Gulf of Mexico, Florida Keys, Mexico, Bahamas, Cuba. I live in central Alabama. What would be the best bands for doing that? All right, let's look at this other one because they kind of go together. It's nice to sit down, fire up the rig on HF, and hear old guys complaining about digestive issues, diarrhea, and hemorrhoids. All right. So, those two subjects right there, to me, kind of go hand in hand. And like I said, I talk about things to get new guys interested in HF, but the first thing that turns a lot of these guys off, especially after they get their general, like, oh, I want to get on 40 meters or 20 meters or 80 meters, and then that's where those groups hang out at. Those old guys have been there forever. They got their little group. They get together every day and talk about their problems. It's what I call the bowel movement net. Some of them are welcoming to new guys. Some of them are not. But that's what's going to be sitting there. I listened to some guys on 160. I don't know how they told who unkeyed. I don't know how they talked the way they did, because the minute one stopped, the other started. You couldn't even hardly break in on them. And a lot of them don't want new guys breaking in with them. That's where a lot of sad ham stuff comes from, with new guys trying to get into these guys in their regular schedule, little group, bowel movement net, whatever you want to call it. As far as my concern, my suggestion to get new guys into the radio, especially I want you on HF. Right now, and probably for the next couple of years, 10 meters is going to be hopping. The cool thing about 10 meters, there's not a lot of that. Yes, there will be some guys chit-chat, especially around the lower 300s part of it. In fact, Sam run into one the other day that he said they didn't want him and joining in with us, so they wasn't overly friendly. But that's kind of few and far in between. 10 meter band's open. You can make a lot of contacts. The band is big. If you're a tech, you got from 28.3 to 28.5 to make voice contacts. 3 kilohertz inside of each end of it. You don't want to be on 28.3. You don't want to be on 28.5. You want to stay between 28.303 and 28.499.7. Basically, you stay 3 kilohertz away from the ends. But still, that's a lot of bandwidth. All the time, even on days when the band's not propagating real good, you can always hear South America. A simple wire homemade dipole will work wonders, and it doesn't have to be very far in the air. Because remember your antenna principles, half-wave dipole should be half-wave in the air. Half-wave dipole for 10 feet is roughly 16 feet long, so 16 feet in the air should work. The higher you get it, the better it'll work. I'm working 10 meter FT8 with a 610 20 and 40 off-center fed dipole, up probably 35 feet at the peak. And I've got it broadside east and west, and I worked all over the world with it on 10 meters on FT8. Now, a dipole, when the band is operating, lower power works great. 100 watts, great. 50, 25. Sam's running a President 2, I think, 10 meter rig, 25, maybe putting out a little more than that, I'm not sure. But it's not a full 100 watt HF rig, and he works all over the world with it. Right now, 10's open, and it makes it really easy to do that. And staying on 10 meters and making contacts will give you more experience in HF, which will help you once you get your general class and you want to go down into the low bands. 17 meters is another fun band. You can make a lot of DX contacts on 15 and 12. You don't actually have to go to 20, 40, and 80 if you don't want to. I've got an extra class license. I very rarely go below 17 meters. Rarely do I do that anymore. I like 10 meters, always been my favorite band. I like 17, I like 15, 12. But I'm trying to make contacts. I'm not really in. The only time I do any long time rag chewing is with our 10 meter group, which anybody that ever hears us is welcome into it. We are not like a lot of those other groups. We want people to check in, especially new hams. We've had several instances where we'd be the first or second contact for a new ham. And if our whole group is on the air, we'll give that guy 6 or 7 contacts one night for his first round on the air. Welcome him into the hobby, and that's what we like to do with these people. And I want to get them on 10 meters. Can't stress that enough. Now, as far as what rig you need, again, it gets into your budget, how much you want to spend, how deep your pocketbook is. You'll have to have a rig, have to have a way to power it, have to have an antenna. 3 basic things. Like I said, Richard's got tons of used gear up there right now, and he'll let you know if any used gear he's got. It's got a 30-day warranty on it. Great place to buy used gear from. If you want to buy new gear, check him out on his new gear prices. He's got some excellent stuff coming in, new gear all the time. Don't knock the 25 watt radios. A lot of people call them glorified CBs. But if it's a 10 meter mobile with 25 watts and it's got upper sideband on it, you'll work the world with that radio, I promise you, because I've done it myself. Worked Japan several times with a Ranger 2950, 25 watts, homemade wire dipole. At 10 meters is the band to learn HF on. I can't stress that enough. Rigs, you just gonna have to decide what you want. Every ham will tell you whatever they think the best rig is, and whatever they tell you is usually what's sitting on their desk. I got all 3 covered here on my desk right now, so I'm not gonna tell you one's better than the other. My personal choice is Yaesu, just from menus. But a lot of guys think Yaesus don't have good receivers in them. I can't tell the difference in them. But the main thing, get on the air and practice and listen and have fun with this hobby. If you get down on them low bands, once you get your general, and first time you're trying to get on HF and you get down there and run into them guys, it probably gonna turn you off for the hobby, and I don't want that to happen. I'm not telling you not to get on the low bands, but if you want good experience working HF with DX stuff, get on 10 meters, especially the next year or two while the band's rolling the way it is, and you'll really have some fun with it. Well, I hope all that made sense. Guys, I appreciate it. We're at 1692. We're closing in on that 1700. We'll give something away as soon as I get over 1700. Guys, remember Main Trading Company in Paris. They've moved their new location. I've got their new address slide behind their whatever picture I put of them at the first of the video. It's got their new address and phone number on it. Check them out. If you're in Paris, Texas, be sure and go by and see it up there. They got a real nice location, really set up good. Guys, I appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel. Anybody got a question or comment, please leave me one. Shoot me an email. My email's on the 10 meter group page at the end of the video, and all my email's also good on QRZ. It's KB5 MIQ Big Boy 73.